Hi everyone, Aaron here for Zollotech, and I get pretty good battery life on my phones. In fact, I post them to Twitter, and a lot of you are asking me how I do it, so I thought I'd share that with you. Now, the first thing I wanted to show you is how long my battery life has lasted today. So let's take a look at that. We'll go to battery, wait for it to load here. And if you look at the bottom, we have 6 hours, 10 minutes of usage, 13 hours, 48 minutes of standby. And if we look at what I've been using, you'll see Twitter, YouTube, email, inbox, Facebook, Google, Pocket Casts, messages, those sorts of things. I don't normally watch a ton of video on my phone. That will make a big difference. I normally use an iPad or a larger screen for that. But I wanted to show you what I'm doing as far as settings. Now, the first thing is the display settings. I don't really change anything. Normally, I have auto lock set to 30 seconds. It's just changed for the video so the screen doesn't dim during the video. I also leave auto brightness and true tone and night shift on. You can turn these off. They don't matter. Auto brightness, I would highly recommend you keep on unless you're in a very bright situation all the time and you need to lower the brightness. But you can just do that here or pull down here if you need to lower it a little bit. Otherwise, just leave auto brightness on and it will adjust as needed. Now, the other thing that I do is I think this saves me a lot of battery life. I've been messing around with different email apps, and I'm using Edison Mail. And Edison Mail is one of many I've been playing around with for an upcoming video. But Edison Mail, because it's not checking email the way that the Mail app on the phone itself that's built in does, I really think it's saving me quite a bit of battery life compared to the previous one. I think that's a big player, and I have 3 or 4 email accounts on here at any time, checking regularly throughout the day. I have push email on where I can, and then I use inbox for Gmail. So they're checking that way instead of using Apple's email app. I think that's been making a difference. Now, a lot of people are probably assuming that I don't use background app refresh, and that's actually not accurate. So I do use background app refresh with the exception of a couple different applications. If you're using Facebook, I highly recommend you turn off background app refresh and take the location access and move it to never, because the location access uses up a lot of power when it has to turn on the GPS antenna. And while using app can be used, which I use that for most apps, but not a few of them such as this one. So Facebook, I do that with Facebook page, the same thing here. I also leave notifications off where I can if I don't need them. I usually use them for Twitter, for example. I'll use notifications for Twitter. I just have them turned off now so they're not popping in constantly during the video. And I also use them for the YouTube Studio app and YouTube sometimes. But for the most part, my notifications are off if I don't want them, or if it's something I don't get a lot of notifications on. I don't bother with that. Now, if you're going to use location data, you don't need to turn them off for everything, but for things such as maps, where'd it go? It's for things such as Google Maps, wherever that went, here it is. Google Maps, I leave this to while using. You could leave it to always, but that's going to use data and power while it's turned on. So I leave this to while using so that I can use the location data as needed. Background app refresh I leave on, like I said, for most applications. There's others as well. Maybe we take a look at clips, for example, location while using. So I normally leave everything to while using, and then I'll turn background app refresh on for many apps because I want it to pull that data as needed. And that won't necessarily save you battery, but it seems to work really well for me. Probably one of the biggest savers of battery for me, though, is Wi-Fi. As you see here in the upper right, I've got Wi-Fi, or Wi-Fi pull down, now the left. If you've got Wi-Fi, use it where you can as long as the signal is good, because depending on your signal strength from your carrier, if that's down to 1 or 2 bars, you're going to use way more power than you would if you're using Wi-Fi. So I use Wi-Fi as much as I can. Also, I leave Bluetooth on, which is very low power, but I do leave it on so I can use my AirPods and the Apple Watch, for example. I just leave that on all the time because I need it, and it's very, very low power. So there's not really much to worry about there. So for the most part, I leave everything alone, and I change those few little things, and I seem to get huge battery life. And most of the time, this battery life is this big. And this is on a beta. This is actually an 11.4 beta 2 at this time. And most people on betas get terrible battery life, especially with beta 1. I got great battery life, and those little things I think make all the difference. So let me know your thoughts about it in the comments below. If there's any other tips you use, let me know. But as far as charging this, I actually charge this on a wireless charger. I leave it overnight, just sitting there. I also charge it with an iPad charger if I'm not using that, or in my car when I'm connected to CarPlay, and it just charges. You don't have to worry about overcharging an iPhone's battery. It's not possible. They manage the battery, and you don't have to worry about that. So I get that question all the time. Just use it. Don't worry about it. And as far as the battery health goes, you'll see I'm still at 100% since the day this came out. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you haven't subscribed already, please subscribe and like. As always, thanks for watching. This is Aaron. I'll see you next time.